that on today's show. But as Jeff Merrick pointed out on Twitter, there are no NHL games today because there are only 3 NHL buildings available. And it just didn't make sense to schedule any games for today, I guess. There were a few options, but they chose not to schedule any games. So here we are. We've got 14 games on Wednesday to talk about. Of course, if you have not tuned in before, this show is sponsored by NorthStar Bets. And that is great because they offer early odds on the next day's NHL games. And that helps us out a ton here. I've got 3 bets today, and I'm going to let you know what they are right away, because I know we've had some confusion here with people jumping on some plays before I get to the games, because typically I throw my projections up right away. You know what? I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to tell you right off the bat who I'm playing, and that way you'll know if there are any differences between my projections and the odds that you see at your sports book of choice. There's probably a reason for that, and there might be a reason not to make that bet. So the games that I'm playing right now, in fact, I'm going to lock these in right now just before I forget. It's the Philadelphia Flyers plus 132 on the money line. Plus 132. What are the Philadelphia Flyers doing at plus 132 on the money line versus the New York Islanders? That's at NorthStar Bets. Shop around, of course. You might find a better price out there on that one. And then I've got the Washington Capitals at minus 130 on the money line. They're hosting the Buffalo Sabres. So I like the Capitals at minus 130 to beat the Buffalo Sabres. And we're going to get into the schedule tracker here in just a little bit. But yeah, I want to get those out of the way right away, because it's important that I tell you guys who I'm betting on, so there's no confusion here as I get into things. A lot of games to cover. Some games like the Winnipeg Jets, it might look like a good bet, but hey, there's that always that concern now that Andre Vasilevsky is nearing a return. So I don't want to jump the gun anywhere where we could get burned on that. So just 2 plays for Tuesday as of right now. It's the Washington Capitals at minus 130 on the money line, 1.3 units to win 1 unit. And the Philadelphia Flyers at plus 132 on the money line, 1 unit to win 1.3 units. Anyway, let's get into things here. The schedule breakdown, as you see on the screen there, it is just the rest days today. I didn't include the load column because nobody is playing really a condensed portion of their schedule right now. Every team has at least 1 day off on Tuesday, so that's going to help out. As far as no audio, FYI. Oh, okay. Next time I should scroll down and see that chat, but that would have helped. Anyway, the schedule breakdown. We've got a lot of teams playing on 1 day's rest. And a lot of teams playing on 2 and 3 days rest. So lots to factor in there. Of course, maybe later on in the show, I can touch on what the rest stats look like year to date for, when the home team has more rest than the away team or vice versa, to give you guys a little more context. But you'll want to factor this into your handicapping here. I already do that. So we'll move on to the projections. As I mentioned, just 2 bets officially for Tuesday, the Washington Capitals minus 130 over the Buffalo Sabres, and the Philadelphia Flyers at plus 132 over the New York Islanders. First up on the schedule for Tuesday, the Edmonton Oilers at Carolina Hurricanes. Man, the Oilers, another loss, this time in Florida. Thankfully for us, we were on the Panthers at minus 112. The market didn't really agree with us on that one. Of course, Alexander Barkov was out. But the Panthers, man, they didn't seem to mind, because they controlled the play against the Oilers with or without Alexander Barkov. That was impressive. But this Oilers team here, man, 3 out of 4 games so far under new head coach Chris Knobloch. They've been pretty poor, and there's been no new coach bump at all. They've actually been playing worse, I think, through these 4 games here. They cop-out answer. They've actually been playing worse through these first 4 games here. Edmonton's 5-on-5 expected goals percentage is 48.7%. That's 21st through 4 games under Knobloch. They rank first in that category under head coach Dave Woodcroft at 56.7%. Edmonton, they're also 0-11 on the power play, if you can believe it or not, in their last 3 games. Carolina, 7-3 straight up in their last 10 games. So should be no surprise here that the model thinks the Hurricanes should be a rather sizable favorite, minus 151. Unfortunately, the odds at NorthStar Bet minus 157, not going to be able to capitalize on the Oilers' poor play here. They're plus 128 underdogs on the money line at NorthStar Bets. Let me lock in that play on the Capitals before I get distracted here and move on without doing so. Like I said, minus 130 at NorthStar Bet. Really like this play here on the Caps. I think a lot of people have been sleeping on Washington this season. I mean, I was sleeping on Washington this season. It probably had something to do with the fact that I was higher on them than everybody else last season, and they really let me down. So maybe that had a little bit something to do with it to start the year. But yeah, no, it's kind of a cop out. They could have scheduled 1 or 2 games at least today, but I'll accept their reason, I guess, with it being American Thanksgiving and all. But yeah, so we'll move on to the Buffalo Sabres and the Washington Capitals to talk about that game next. And Washington, man, Evgeny Kuznetsov back at practice on Monday after missing 1 game with an illness. Kind of figured he would be. Washington, they're 8-2 straight up in their last 10. Of course, the Sabres, they're without Tage Thompson. That's a huge loss for this team. And yeah, I like the Capitals at minus 130. I think this one, according to the model, should be priced around minus 151 according to the model. So big edge there on the Caps. Don't mind laying minus 130 on a team like Washington when you're getting a lot of value against the projection. So yeah, Washington minus 130. The Sabres coming back on the other side at plus 107. Certainly no value betting on the Sabres at that price. But we will move on to Chicago and Columbus. Yeah, this one, not a lot of interest here. Look, Patrick Laine, just 2 goals and 3 points in 9 games this season. And yeah, he was dealing with an injury. He missed some time, but just 1 goal in 5 games since returning from that injury. He was a healthy scratch against the Flyers on Sunday. And Johnny Gaudreau, he has just 2 goals and 7 points in 19 games this season. So not a lot going right for the Blue Jackets with their top stars struggling here. They're in hosting Chicago, sorry. And Chicago, I mean, one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. The model only thinks that Columbus should be a minus 124 favorite, and they're minus 141 at NorthStar Bet right now. So no bet on the Blue Jackets, no bet on the Chicago Blackhawks. Doesn't look like I'll have much interest in that one. And you got the Red Wings. They're coming back from their trek out to Sweden, which was an unsuccessful one, to say the least, losing both games. And they're taking on a Devils team that's getting a lot healthier now. Of course, they got Jack Hughes back in the lineup on the weekend. And Nico Hischier returned to practice on Monday. He was skating, in the line rushes. So it looks like he might be back on Wednesday, but no confirmation from the team yet. There was not all of the Devils regulars were at practice, so a little bit tough to tell whether or not or where he will slot in the lineup on Wednesday and whether he will play for sure or not. Timo Meier remains out for the Devils, so they're not 100%, but they're getting close, and they've got their 2 most important pieces, that is Hischier and Jack Hughes, back in the lineup. So the model thinks that the Devils should be a minus 130 favorite. The Red Wings coming back on the other side here, plus 129, obviously. So plus 129 doesn't make the Red Wings a good bet at plus 115. Minus 129 does not make the Devils a good bet at minus 139, the current odds at NorthStar Bets. So no interest in that one right now. Might have a little bit of interest in this next one, though. The Boston Bruins at the Florida Panthers. Alexander Barkov missed Monday's game, but like I said, it did not matter. The Panthers still managed to control play against the Oilers. I'm ruling out Barkov for now, but if he's in, I would bet on the Panthers here. There are some good prices out there. The model says that Florida should be a plus 107 underdog if Barkov remains out of the lineup, but a minus 114 favorite if he returns. So right now we've got the model, like I said, minus 107 in favor of the Boston Bruins. And right now, the Panthers are minus 109 at NorthStar Bets. So there would be some value there, but shop around and wait for that confirmation on whether Barkov will be in the lineup or not. But like the Bruins, they're a formidable team, right? But I mean, they're not so formidable that I won't bet against them now. I was close to betting against them on Monday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wish I had of, because that worked out good for the Lightning. But yeah, the price is a bit inflated on the Boston Bruins here at this point in the season. You know that they had an easy schedule to start the season, and now they're facing some tougher competition. And the lines are kind of inflated due to that easy schedule that has them kind of propped up, I think, a little bit here. Much like a team like I talked about on Monday, the Vancouver Canucks, they've been propped up by the percentages. So have the Boston Bruins, just not as a drastic of a case as the Vancouver Canucks. So got to watch out when betting on the Bruins. They're going to win a lot of games, but there's not going to be a lot of value there. I'll sit this one out until we know whether Barkov is back in the lineup or not. If he is, I'm going to race to put a bet on the Panthers at hopefully around a pick 'em price or better. Minus 105 would be ideal, something like that. Maybe even an underdog price if we're lucky. So watch that. We'll see what happens. Jake, you got any thoughts on what we saw on Monday? Pretty quality night of hockey in the NHL, despite only 7 games.
Yeah, I mean the Bruins looked so good on the weekend against my poor Habs, in the big bad Bruins night. So I thought they were going to take it against the Lightning. So that was actually surprising for me. I probably, I probably would have bet on them if it was up to me. So other than that, I mean it's kind of amazing to me that the Devils are maintaining a winning record with all the injuries they've had. So they're gonna be a fearsome team.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I mean, New Jersey, I've seen some people kind of rag on them a little bit, but they've been their underlying numbers, specifically at 5-on-5, which is the important part of the game. It's the part where you've really got to be able to master in order to go far in the playoffs. The power play stuff will come, but at 5-on-5, they've been pretty good, and they've been pretty unlucky, I would say, if you compare their goals percentage to their expected goals percentage, even in the month of November, a little bit unlucky for the Devils. So I think that's something to watch. But yeah, if the Devils can get any goaltending, they'll be fine. That's Connor in the chat, and he is absolutely right. Vitek Vanacek, not certainly not as good as he was last year, so far this year. But I mean, if they can get half decent goaltending, they will be just fine. We saw how Akira Smith was able to perform in the playoffs last year. So the Devils will be just fine if they can get some decent goaltending. But yeah, let's keep it going here. I've got the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Interesting matchup, man. The Rangers, they led the Stars 2-1 with 6:22. Actually, it was 2-zip, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2-0 with 6:22 left in the second period on Monday, but they lost 6-3. So that was a fun one because Dallas, they were up 3-0 in the game before against the Avalanche and blew that one 6-3. So a little bit of comeback in more ways than one for the Stars. But yeah, an embarrassing loss for the Rangers last night. Igor Shesterkin in goal for that one. Pittsburgh coming off a 3-0 shutout of the Vegas Golden Knights. Wish they had used up that against the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday as a big underdog, but at least they're showing that they're not a total dud anyway. I've got this one pretty much a coin flip on either side. The Penguins should be a small favorite according to the model, minus 105. The Rangers plus 105, obviously, according to the model. So nothing there right now because this one's a pick 'em, minus 110 on each side. Flip a coin, see what happens. I guess if you got a strong opinion on either team here, you'd make a bet, but I don't. So I'm not going to make a bet. The Winnipeg Jets, this one I talked about a little bit off the hop here. They're in Tampa Bay taking on the Lightning, and they'd be a good bet, a great bet at plus 107 because I think they should be a minus 107 favorite. So the odds are flipped from where they should be here. But Andre Vasilevsky, John Cooper said he'd probably be back around American Thanksgiving. Well, it's American Thanksgiving. We might not see him back until closer to the end of the month, but I'm going to be approaching these Lightning games with extra caution here because coaches get timelines wrong all the time. Coaches say things all the time that they later walk back. And I would not be surprised if Andre Vasilevsky is ahead of schedule here, because it looks like he is. So I'm going to be approaching this one with caution. If there's some value on the Jets when we get confirmation that it won't be Andre Vasilevsky, then I'll consider it. But if it is somehow Andre Vasilevsky, I think that's worth not making a bet here, and not getting a terrible line, because it would be if Vasilevsky is back. And Connor in the chat asks, I wonder if they save Vasi for the Friday game at Carolina, given it's a division opponent. And yeah, that would, for sure. And I also wonder if they don't wait for an easier game on the schedule, but unfortunately there aren't really any easy games on the schedule. The Lightning have arguably the toughest schedule remaining. So that is something to watch there. It's not likely going to be any muffins for Vasilevsky to start. He's going to have to get into the swing of things rather quickly here. But yeah, I'm going to hold off on betting the Jets. Like I said, I guess if you're confident that Vasilevsky is going to start, then the Jets are a good bet. I'm just approaching with a little bit of caution here. I don't exactly love Winnipeg. I think I question how my model sees them sometimes. I question how the public kind of views them sometimes. I don't really think they're as good as people think they are. And I'm not gonna stretch here because like I said, Vasilevsky's such a difference maker. Don't want to take a chance. But anyway, we'll move on to a game that I really have a lot of interest in here, and that's the Flyers at the Islanders. And I don't know, I don't understand this. I really don't. And I'm surprised it's still sticking around. Plus 132 at the for the Philadelphia Flyers on the money line. 1 unit play to win 1.3 units. The Islanders, man, I don't know. They won their first game as an underdog with a 5-4 shootout win over the Flames on Saturday, bringing them to 1-8 as underdogs this season. And all of a sudden, they should be a minus 162 favorite. Like what's going on here? How no team like the Islanders should be a minus 162 favorite against a team like the Philadelphia Flyers. This one should be a coin flip. I mean, and that's assuming that home ice does anything for the Islanders. On neutral ice, I would take the Flyers to beat the Islanders all day long, but we're in Long Island for this one. And I mean, the Flyers straight up on the money line plus 132. Hell, I'd take them to win in regulation, but the Islanders, they've been pesky, gone to overtime in 5 of their last 10 games. So you got to watch out for that. Of course, the Isles are known for hanging around, right? They've got some great goaltending most of the time, and they don't score a lot of goals. So things can get pretty tight when you're playing the New York Islanders. But yeah, the Flyers, man, I don't know. Plus 132. It's an insane price. I'm just gonna go with the 1 unit bet because I've decided to stick to this. Just a flat unit staking system here. I'm just going to go with the 1 unit bet because it's been performing better than the Kelly criterion method. I've been using the fractional Kelly criterion method. So 1 unit bet on the Philadelphia Flyers plus 132. I mean, we're well into the season here, and the Flyers are still a top team in the NHL. Time to stop doubting this team. They should not be priced anywhere close to this. Just total disrespect. Total disrespect by the market here. What do you think of this Flyers team, Jake? You pretty impressed so far?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I think everybody expected them to be awful, so any kind of success that
I
they
did.
have above that, is impressive.
Let me just say that, right? I mean, you've got to like, people will die on that hill all season long. Like, oh no, I thought this team was going to be awful, and they're going to be awful. It's going to happen. You just wait and see. Like, I have no problem, when I get new information that tells me I was wrong, updating my predictions, and that's how you stay ahead of the game, right? I mean, I don't get too locked into any one opinion. I thought the Flyers were going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL this year. They're not. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. Sometimes you get it wrong, but I mean, the worst thing I could do is keep beating that drum that the Flyers are actually bad when they're not, right? So I'm in on the Flyers now, and I should have wore the hat today because I thought I was going to end up handing out some bets on the Hurricanes based on where things were priced a little bit earlier. But I should have wore the Flyers hat today because you know what? I can switch here.
I got to give some love to Connor's comment calling the Isles the Steelers of the NHL. I love it. As someone who makes NFL picks every Wednesday, Jake's Takes, check it out on Canada Sports Betting. I love that comment.
Awesome. As somebody who doesn't watch the NFL, I have no idea what that comment means. I just assume that it means the Steelers are for whatever reason still viewed as somewhat of a good team, and they're not. Is that kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, have a reputation for success, kind of let you down on a pretty consistent basis, but still sort of drag behind them that legacy of success. And they're a tough team. They're a tough team to pick. I mean, I'm sure just like the Islanders are, it's a bit of a hard nut to crack.
The Steelers are going to make the playoffs and have been outgained in every game. Okay, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so they're frauds, is what you're saying. They're frauds. Any Steelers fans out there? You guys going to take this? Connor just railroading your team here in the chat. But yeah, anyways, we've got a bet on the Flyers. So that's a bet on the Capitals, 1.3 units to win 1 unit. A bet on the Flyers. I forgot to tweet out that the show was live, so that's okay. That's fine. They can watch it later. But anyway, two bets so far. Let's get into the rest of what we got here. The Calgary Flames and the Nashville Predators. Man, wild finish in Nashville on Monday. Did you guys see that? The Predators, they beat the Avalanche in regulation. Wild bounce off the end board. Sorry, Cale Makar. He tries to bank the puck around the net, and this is in the final minute of the game. The Avs are up 3-2, and we're in the final minute, and this puck comes down. And or no, it was 3-3 at this point. Sorry, the Preds had just tied the game. They had pulled the goalie in the final minute, tied the game 3-3, and we're in the final minute, the final seconds really, and Cale Makar turns the puck over, tries to bank it off the end boards around and behind the net, but instead it comes directly back out past him over his shoulder, right to two Nashville players that managed to bank it in after some chaos. And yeah, it was crazy. The Preds get the win in regulation. I'm sure that busted up some parlays last night in a pretty cruel way with the Avs as kind of short favorites. I didn't think there was any value in the Avalanche. I actually saw a little bit of value on the Preds. Didn't make a bet. Wish I had. But them the breaks, eh? But yeah. Anyways, Calgary, they've looked like the team that we thought they were going to be heading into the season. The Flames, they've got a tough schedule though between now and the end of December. I think that, like the Oilers, they're going to continue to spin their tires in terms of their playoff chances. Not a lot of interest here. Minus 105 favorite. That's what the model makes Nashville. Plus 105 on the other side for the Calgary Flames. NorthStar Bets has this one minus 114 in favor of the Preds, minus 107 in favor of the Flames. The St. Louis Blues in Arizona taking on the Coyotes. This is the third meeting of the season between the Blues and Yotes. The series is tied 1-1. I bet on the Yotes in both of the first two games. Now I think the odds line up, or the model lines up with what the odds are saying. The Yotes, they were pretty sizable underdogs in each of the first two games. Now they're not. Now this was a pick 'em. If anything, I think I could end up betting on St. Louis here in this one. They're at even money. I've even seen some plus 110 out there. So actually a little bit of value on the Blues at this point. And I could potentially end up on St. Louis. So yeah. And Josh in the chat saying that he's a Flyers and a Capitals fan for tomorrow. And that's the great thing. I've got a new favorite team or multiple favorite teams every day, and new teams that I dislike every day. So I used to spend all my time cheering for these bums, way too much time. They're a bunch of bums, though. Bums. So I'm happy. I'm happy now with a new team every other day. And the Flyers, they've been my team a lot lately. So go Flyers, go. Anyway, Preds and Flames wrap that one up. Vegas Golden Knights at the Dallas Stars. Scott Wedgwood, he was in goal for Monday's 6-3 win over the Rangers. You would think Jake Ottinger is going to be in goal when the Dallas Stars host the Vegas Golden Knights, of course, marquee matchup. Um, Not a lot of interest here, though, right? Minus 124 is what we see at NorthStar Bets. The model has minus 125 on the Dallas Stars. So unless something moves quite a bit, I won't have a play on this game. And the Montreal Canadiens at the Anaheim Ducks. Not a lot of interest here either. Anaheim minus 132 at NorthStar Bets. The model has them at minus 120. Montreal coming back on the other side at plus 108. So not enough value there to justify a bet on the Canadiens. What do you think of the Canadiens these days, Jake? They're your team, and they're a little bit pesky, but really just looking like they're gonna trend towards the bottom five finish again. Are they not?
Yeah, I mean, to quote Dennis Green, to use a football quote, they are who we thought they were. I think a lot of people following the
Yeah.
Habs, closely knew that they were probably this bad. I think a lot of like fair weather fans thought they could make a bit of a run this year, but they were getting unsustainable goaltending at the beginning. Now we're sort of starting to see the averages come to light. And every November, December, they go on these West Coast road trips, which I'm sure the players love. But in terms of the record never likes it. It's always a dreadful thing. So I'd stay away from the Canadians for this West Coast swing. Maybe against the Sharks, they'd be an interesting play, but here I don't
Yeah,
think so.
I wonder what that I didn't look ahead that far. I wonder what that line is gonna look like for Montreal and San Jose. That'll be their what, third game? No, I guess they're not gonna play three games in 4 nights if they've got um Thursday off. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Speaking of the Sharks, they're in Seattle taking on the Kraken on Tuesday. And man, they gave me a little bit of hope last night. They scored a goal to go up 1-0. I guess midway through the second period, it was knotted at 0-0 up to that point, and the Sharks score one, but the Canucks challenge, it gets called back. And not long after that, Vancouver goes up 1-0, then 2-0 on a buzzer. Just an absolute backbreaker for the regulation play on San Jose. The Canucks going up 2-0 like at the buzzer at the end of the second period. They won the game 3-1. That's all right. It was a 0.25 unit play. Still a profitable night thanks to the Panthers. And I don't know if speaking of that, I don't know if I got to it. The betting record. We didn't really get to that, did we, Jake? Um, I will spend a little bit of time talking about that. Should have got it off the top of the show, to brag a little bit when everybody was tuned in. But yeah. Anyways, 49 wins, 37 losses, plus 11.2 units of profit. That's an 11.7% return on investment, getting up close to 3% closing line value. On average, but only beating the closing line about 63% of the time. That is not great by any means. Definitely want to see that improve here over the next little bit. But yeah, very happy with the results so far. Can't complain with a win rate like that with average odds of we're mostly betting underdogs here. Like if you average the odds out, you're probably looking at plus 108 or plus 106 or something like that on average. Actually, I can probably pull that up here right now. Let's just do that and see what the average odds are because I think that's kind of interesting. So the average odds, 48%. So yeah, winning, winning at this rate at 40% average odds, 48% average odds. Pretty good. That's what you like to see. We're not backing a lot of big favorites. I know we got the Capitals on the money line minus 130 today, but we balanced that out with the Flyers at plus 132. But yeah, the Sharks, they're in Seattle taking on the Kraken. Seattle has talked about a little bit about the Islanders going to overtime in 5 of their last 10 games. Seattle has gone to extra time in 7 of their last 14 games. So pretty crazy there. This team loves to stick around. And I mean, I wouldn't balk at playing the regulation draw here in this one, but then again, it is the Sharks, and you're going to get what you get out of them more often than not. Uh, already got his max wager at minus 135. Welcome to the sports betting world, eh? But yeah, anyway, the 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 Kraken definitely not laying a big price on them. The model thinks they should be minus 229, 69.6% chance of winning. San Jose plus 229, 30.4% chance of winning. Not going to be betting on either side. Would consider a bet on the Sharks for sure if the odds are attractive enough. But at plus 210, the current odds at NorthStar Bet, definitely not attractive enough, and neither is the minus 165 price tag that the Seattle Kraken are carrying into this one. And one last game to talk about: the Vancouver Canucks at the Colorado Avalanche. Vancouver getting that 3-1 win over the Sharks after losing two in a row. Colorado, of course, losing that crazy game to the Nashville Predators. Yeah, I mean, this one, you shouldn't be surprised to see the Avs as a big favorite, minus 190. The model thinks that's a little bit inflated, minus 166 is what the model says, plus 166 for the Vancouver Canucks. So yeah, no value there. Would have to see a big move, up into the plus 170s in order to justify betting on Vancouver here on Tuesday. But I'm happy with the bets that I've got locked in. I've got a feeling that Flyers bet is going to move a whole lot. If they close as plus 132 against the Isles, I will eat this Flyers hat tomorrow live on the stream. I promise. If this line sticks around for more than 2 hours, I will eat this hat tomorrow on the stream. But yeah, anyways, I'm not only going to eat my words, but I'm going to eat a hat apparently. So yeah. Anyway, I think that does it for today's show. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate all of you in the chat today. Jake, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
No, no. I mean, enjoy the games on Wednesday. Today is going to be kind of a sleeper. Maybe check out some other sports that you haven't looked at in a while, or rewatch this video and get ready for Wednesday. But yeah, good show all around. Thanks, chatters.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Good luck with your bets. Enjoy the day off from hockey. Hey, if you want to spend some time doing hockey work, you know, do some hockey work. This is a good time to get ahead of the game, get caught up on some things. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. Look out for my weekly betting insights article. That's going to be live later today at canadasportsbetting.ca. I'll be talking some year to date things like how the money line stats, puck line stats, regulation stats, maybe some total stuff. Keeping you up to date each week at canadasportsbetting.ca with some hockey betting insights. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you all. I will see you again on Wednesday. Oh, tomorrow's show, it's going to be a little later. We've got some meetings that we can't really move around. So we're going to have to do the show at instead of 11:30 Eastern time. I'm going to be back to the old time at 12:30 Eastern time, give or take a few minutes there. Sound good, Jake?
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good to me.
I know we didn't discuss that, but it was my last chance to let everybody know that we won't be back until a little bit later on Wednesday.
For sure. Yeah. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 12:30. Ready for it.
All right, see you then.